Hi, everybody, and welcome back to All Day Tea Party. I'm your host, Zenobia Goodman, and here we're going to figure life out together, ask the big questions, learn more about ourselves, and remember not to take ourselves too seriously in the process. All right, guys, episode 12. Let's get right into it. All right, guys, I'm coming live from my bed again. I had a whole vision of how I was going to do a setup, but I was just like, no, I want to be cozy. And here I am, cozy in my bed, and I love that. I'm currently wrapped up in my little fleece blanket and I absolutely love it. I always feel the need to be snuggled. I'm not going to lie to you. I sleep with a weighted blanket, a comforter slash duvet, top sheet, fuzzy blanket. And then pro tip for anybody that's like a physical touch baddie who is single and like needs to be snuggled, get yourself a pregnancy pillow. I ended up getting a pregnancy pillow like back when I had like my breast reduction because I had to like sleep on my back for a while. However, it's like perfect. Like you're literally spooning something the whole night. Like it's amazing. Or like you can flip over and like have it spoon you. Like it is the best thing ever. So if your love language is physical touch and you're not getting a whole lot of that these days, get yourself a pregnancy pillow. That is my pro tip. Okay, moving right into the episode. Let's talk about some housekeeping. Okay, so the YouTube video is up for episode 11. Check that out. It's great. It's gown baking. I talk all about my movie reviews, so you guys can just hear about those. I talk about my Letterboxd. Feel free to follow me on Letterboxd, zgoodman123, for those of you who are interested. A new review is up. I did watch the new Mean Girls, and we'll talk about that. Next up, our TikTok. She's still pumping. She's still going. Feel free to check that out. I like to post like either what I'm up to or just like little clips like of the episode. So if you want to keep up with us there, definitely go check out the TikTok. It's the same handle as the Instagram. So adtp.pod. Slay. So let's get right. Oh, and then finally, of course, I'm always going to plug this, but court is in session form. Submit your weekly submission. You want advice, you want to rant, you just want to like tell me your deepest, darkest secrets and get my opinion on them, like whatever, submit whatever you would like. The link is in our bio, is in the link tree that is in our bio. Oops. And also feel free to fill out the suggestion form. Like if there's anything you want to hear more about, anything you want to hear less of, like whatever, feel free to fill all of that out. Again, this is a collaborative experience. We're here. We're in this together. Okay. So next up, we have our weekly updates. What's new in the world of Zenobia? So first thing is kind of simple. Like I've just been cooking a lot more, which is fun. I feel like that's something I've always liked to do. I've just been doing it like a little bit less, but like we're back in our chef era, so happy to be here. This like past week I did like a lot of relaxing, some catching up. I deep cleaned my apartment, which like desperately needed to happen. I still need to clean my room. We'll get into that. We'll do that at some point. Will definitely get done, I promise. I ran some errands. I saw a couple friends. I did the thing. But the thing I did that like I had the most fun with is on Saturday, one of my friends, her name's Liv. For those of you that are new here, Liv was my first guest on the podcast, and we had a podcast about like finding our own personal style and stuff like that. I want to say that was episode 5 or 6. I can't remember. It's a 2-parter. Feel free to check that out. She also has a clothing brand. It's called Olive by Design. So the Instagram handle is at olive.by.design. Anyway, so same friend. If you've been with the pod, same Liv. She texted me and we did like a little crafty day, and we just like cut out like a bunch of stuff from magazines and did like canvases and stuff. And I just found that so much fun because I feel as if like I'm always on my laptop crafting. Like I'm always, making a Canva or like filming content or, making a schedule for content or whatever it is that I am doing. I'm always doing something on my laptop. And this was the first time in a really long time I like physically crafted something, and I had the best time. Like it was great. I loved it. So that's something that I did this week that I really did enjoy. And then finally, I went jean shopping, got myself a couple of nice pairs of jeans. I have just been struggling with finding a decent pair. If you've been here for the last year and a half of my life, you know I have been on the hunt for the perfect pair of jeans. Surprise, everybody, I finally found them. So we can put the jean shopping to rest. Finally. So next up, we do not have a cheeky little court is in session this week, but we can talk about pop culture because nobody always loves to talk about that. Number one. Okay, so this is, I don't know how niche this is. This really depends on what side of TikTok you're on. And I'm on I guess I would say an interesting side of TikTok. But anyways, for those of you that are on the similar side of TikTok that I am, you have probably heard of the whole like random man in Atlanta, random man from Atlanta. Sorry. So there's this woman, I want to say she's like 22, 23. She has a cutest little baby, and her baby daddy is like deadbeat. Like, she literally calls him the random man from Atlanta. And that's kind of how she blew up on TikTok. Like, she is, it's just like him being a deadbeat dad. Like, she's kind of got it covered. She's taking care of her kids. She's providing for her daughter. Like, it's giving boss ass mom, like 10 out of 10. And we later found out that like he like had other women pregnant at the same time as her. She like bought it. I don't know if she was paying for his car, or, like bought his car, and like he was living with her, and he like, it was craziness. Like, he was truly a scrub. Like, TLC wrote that song about him. Like, true scrub behavior. So mind you, this man we were introduced to his other baby mamas, like all this other stuff. There was all whole hullabaloo on the internet. And of course, I was all in the mix because I don't know how to mind my own business. Anyways, so the other day, she hops on TikTok and she's like, "Hey, girlies, like, I know it's been a while." And you want to know what she gets on the internet and says? Guys, listen. She's basically like, he came back and we're co-parenting? And okay, she also said like he hadn't seen their daughter in a year. And then I know like the daughter just had like her first birthday or something like that. And I didn't see him in any of the photos. He probably wasn't there because he's giving deadbeat dad. But anyway, so she's like, yeah, we're co-parenting and we like went to Build-A-Bear and like are doing things. And I'm like, all I have to say, because you know what? I don't have any kids. I am not a baby mama and I am not dating a baby daddy. So I maybe don't have a lot of legs to stand on because I'm not experienced in this. But all I'm saying is that I think it's very convenient that tax season is around the corner and the holidays just ended. And now he's like scurrying back. And all it took was a trip to Build-A-Bear and he's ready to be father of the year. That's all. That's all. Those are my only points. But all in all, like, her content was really funny. Like, I don't know. I don't really know how like the content's gonna change. Like, now that random man from Atlanta is kind of back in the picture. Like, I guess like if she wants him to be in her daughter's life, she can't be like dogging her baby daddy all over the internet, which like, it happens to the best of us. Not to like toot my own horn or anything, but it's nice to not have a baby daddy because I cannot imagine having to spend eternity with a man that I can't stand or random man from X place. Anyways, that's that. That's just Zenobia like being nosy. Next up, we have, and this was like I thought this was kind of cute, but every single time she's somewhere, he's somewhere, it's plastered everywhere. But this past game, Jason and Kylie Kelsey were there, and I like them a lot. I think they're just like a sweet little family. Like, their daughters are adorable. Like, I just think like they seem to just be like very sweet. But what stood out to me was there was this little girl with like a sign that says like, "I love Taylor Swift," or like something like that. And there's this video of Jason Kelly. And there's this video of Jason Kelsey like picking her up so she can hold the sign so that Taylor can see it. Isn't that the sweetest thing you've ever heard? Like, I think that's so sweet. Like, I think Jason Kelsey just gives girl dad. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he just gives like girl dad in the best way possible. So that like warmed my little heart. I was like, oh, like that's adorable. Like, I think that's super sweet. Next up in my pop culture updates, Zenobia found her way to the movie theater and she saw Mean Girls. So I have a lot of opinions. I'm going to start with the negative opinions first, just to get that out of the way. Okay, first we're going to talk about the outfits. That's what we're going to start with, because I think that's probably the thing I want to criticize second. Okay, first we're going to start with the outfits. Their outfits, and I think I've mentioned this before, because I saw like the trailer, but like watching the movie, I'm like, their outfits looked like they were from Shein. And like the e.l.f. product placement, there, you cannot convince me that in any universe, Regina George did not have the Dior lip oil. I'm sorry, Regina George was not using e.l.f. I don't care what anybody says. Regina is not using e.l.f. No, she's not. I'm sorry. Absolutely not. No, you cannot convince me. So that's their outfits and like the weird like product placement. I just like I found that a little odd. I was just like, okay, like whatever. But then and the like movie was fine. Like obviously it was a musical. Like I embraced that. I was prepared for that. Like I was really excited about the fact that it was a musical. I did enjoy the little like Lindsay Lohan cameo. I thought that was adorable. I thought that was very sweet. But my like main criticism of the movie has to do with the actress that played Katie. I feel as if like it's very clear that a lot of the other members of the cast that did have like singing roles were theater kids. Like it's very clear. Like you can tell Renee Rapp was on Broadway. You can basically tell everybody knew how to act and sing as if they were in theater. I've never watched the full Mean Girls like musical, but from the clips that I've seen, this Katie, when she was singing, she sounded like, and I was like, oh my God, like, where is the inflection? Like, I'm sure she's a beautiful singer and a great actress, but she's clearly not a theater kid. Like, she sounded like but I'm sure she's a great singer and like a great actress, but she's clearly not a theater kid. Like, she sounded like she was lobotomized. I was like, what is going on here? And then you have Renee Rapp just slaying the house down. Like, she is perfect, groundbreaking. And then you have like, and I'm like, okay, maybe not. But overall, like she was great. She was fine. It was just like every time she sang, I was like, oh my God, she sounds like she doesn't even want to be here. Like, where was the train? You know what I mean? I was just kind of like, okay, like fine. So that's my only critique. But well, I also had other critiques. So I critiqued their outfits, obviously, but and also, this is like not specifically a critique on like the Mean Girls movie, but it's just something weird that like I've noticed in general. Like, I'm not a fan of movies that like are clearly being made for Gen Z. And I'm going to explain. Like, the whole like algorithm thing and like all that stuff. Like, there were little like notes of it being like for Gen Z. Like, it was giving that the movie was written for people that have like extensive knowledge of the TikTok algorithm. Like that's what I said in my Letterboxd review. Like it was very like it was giving Gen Z's and Gen Z. And like I don't know, maybe this is me like being nostalgic for like the original Mean Girls, like just the film, like not the musical, but I'm just like you didn't have to do that. Like that wasn't incredibly necessary. But overall a great production. Like everybody did a beautiful job. I really did like their casting for Damien's role. I did appreciate that. Again, like I said, Renee Rapp slayed the house down. Yeah, everybody did a really good job. I felt like Gretchen and Karen were like barely there, and I know they had a little bit more of a role in like the Broadway musical, but you know what? Overall, I had fun. I think it was fun to watch, and I don't know if I'd watch it again, but I'm going to watch the original Mean Girls again. So let's just get right into today's episode. So today we are going to be talking about solo dating. And by that, I mean simply going on dates by yourself. Break down how this is going to go. So first we're going to talk about why solo dating is important, how to get comfortable doing things by yourself, ideas of solo dates, things that I want to do, and then we're going to head into the conclusion of the episode. So let's get right into it. So solo dating, like I said, going on dates by yourself. And I think a lot of people, when people hear like solo dating, they automatically think like, oh, like because you're single. And I'm like, well, I still feel like even if you are in a relationship, like it's important to still be comfortable like doing things by yourself. Like, you know, have your own hobbies outside of your partner, the usual. So like I said, I think it's important just to like do things by yourself. Like I think that me personally, I'm somebody who needs to take a lot of time to recharge, and I feel as if sometimes I just recharge by doing activities by myself. I think that when I push myself too hard, the only way for me to recharge is by like sleeping all the time. But I've been working really hard and being very conscious to like not get to that point so that I still have that time and that energy to do things by myself. And the way that I think about it is like something that I would do with somebody else, like obviously like not something that requires more than one person, but you know, let's say it's like go to a new restaurant, like I can do that by myself if I want to. Like it's just this idea that like it's okay to do things by yourself and like you don't have to only do things with other people. So, like I said, it's good to spend time by yourself, like figure out your likes, your dislikes, stuff like that. And I know, like, obviously you can figure that out with other people, but like I said, like, there's so much value in being able to spend time by yourself. And, like, I'm at a point where, like, I don't have a husband, I don't have any kids, I can literally do whatever I want. And I can take this time to figure out, like, ooh, I really like to do this, or I like to do this, or I like to do this. And, like, you know, figuring out my own likes and dislikes and just kind of getting that room to breathe. Like, I think everybody needs room to breathe, even the extroverts, because I know I know of a lot of people that like recharge by like being around other people, but just like having that like inherent independence is a really good thing in my opinion. Like, you know, and you know, obviously like I would never say like, oh, you have to do everything by yourself and you don't need community, because I don't think that's true in any way, shape, or form. But what I do think is like you have to be comfortable enough to say, you know what, I like this thing, I'm gonna go do it, I can go do it by myself, it's not the end of the world, it's actually a lot of fun. Like the idea of like spending time by yourself and like doing things alone, it's like, it's not a punishment. It's like not a punishment for like not having somebody to do it with, or like not having enough friends, or like not being around people that like the things you like in no way, shape, or form is it a punishment. Like if anything, like that time is to be cherished so much, because it's your personal like space time. Like I don't know, like I think there's something so beautiful about being able to like disconnect and say, you know what, this time is for me, myself, and I. Like table for one, please. Like, you know, like I think there's so much power in that, and I think it's so beautiful. I also think it's a good chance to like treat yourself. Like you want to go buy that like cute little jacket from somewhere that you want to buy it from, go do it. Like, you know, take that time, go take yourself shopping, go get your nails done, like, you know. And so that kind of leads us into the idea of like, okay, well, how do you get comfortable doing things alone? And I hate to say it, baby, but exposure therapy. That's how you do it. Unfortunately, that's how I did it, and I don't know any other way. Exposure therapy. You've just got to do it. And something I did is like I started small. So this is kind of silly. And I got into the idea of like potentially like having a meal by myself when I was in college, actually, because you know when you like first go to campus, like everybody, like you're eating all your meals with your freshman hall, like you're eating all your meals with your roommates, your friends, everything like that. But kind of like as the semester goes on and like y'all get busy and like class schedules happen and like people make different friends, like, or you're eating at like a different time because you had to be in the library or whatever it is, like you start to like have to eat meals by yourself. And I remember one of the first times I had to go to the dining hall and eat by myself, I literally was like shaking in my boots. I was like, I can't do this. This is so odd. I'm gonna look so weird. I can't believe I have to eat by myself. But you know what? I did it. And I had a couple meals by myself and it became like habit. It's like something that was like so nerve-wracking and like, oh my gosh, I can't do this. I look so crazy. Everybody's paying attention to me. Like whatever, like ended up being nothing of the sort, and something that I still enjoy doing to this day. Like and I think another thing with like feeling uncomfortable doing things by yourself is like sometimes you always have this feeling that like other people are paying attention. They're gonna be like pointing a finger being like, that girl's by herself. Like nobody gives a shit. I promise nobody is paying attention to you. People are so in their own heads. Like I think about myself and I'm like, I don't think there's ever a time when like I'm out to eat, like let's say I'm out to eat with my friends and I see somebody sitting by themselves and I'm like, that girl's lonely. Like, I've never even thought about that in my life. Like, that would be so weird. Like, I promise you, nobody is thinking that. And anybody that would be thinking that is insecure and like weird and probably has an ugly personality. So, like, what do you care what they think? I think like I said, for me, like a big fear was like, oh my god, people are watching me, and nobody's watching me. No, nobody, not one person was paying attention, I promise. Like, and so again, like that's something that like I had to get comfortable doing. And years have passed since my little baby 18-year-old Zenobia was scared to eat by herself in the dining hall, but I still like cherish that. And I remember that feeling, being so nervous, and I also remember like getting through it, and I know how I feel now and how much I love like and I know how I feel now and how much I love just grabbing a little meal by myself. In the same vein as like nobody's paying attention to you, like I think doing things by yourself is so cool. Like I've said this before, like I said this earlier, but like it's so cool to be like, you know what, I'm independent enough to go do this thing. And like me personally, I love being on my own schedule. Like I go where I want, I do what I want. I figure, like, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, obviously I love to hang out with people and I have no problem working around people's schedules, but sometimes you just want to do your own thing. And doing your own thing is so liberating. Like, you go to where you want to go on your schedule, do your thing. Like, it's amazing. Like, that's the best feeling ever. And instead of feeling like, oh, I'm sad, I want to do things with other people. Like, obviously, I think at the end of the day, we all inherently want like community and human connection. But I think like doing things by yourself is awesome. Like, you're so cool. And I'd like to describe like kind of this process and like the doing things by yourself is like anything that like you would do with a significant other, just do by yourself. And that brings us to our next section where I talk about ideas of solo dates. So idea number 1 is going to the movies by yourself. I've had this recommended to me before, but I did it for the first time this past weekend. And guys, I had the best time ever. Like, I went to see Mean Girls. That's what I saw in theaters. And I was out shopping and I was like, like I kind of want to go see Mean Girls. Like I happen to be like in the suburbs. So I was like, movie tickets are going to be cheaper here anyway. So I might as well, right? So I was like, all right, let me go see movie theater, like movie time, stuff like that. And lo and behold, there was a convenient movie time. And, I went on to the AMC app and I booked my little seat and everything. And I was like, all right, like I'm going to the movies by myself. Like, this is fun. This is cool. Like, I was a little nervous. I was like, all right, but you know what? Fine. I get to the movies and I get my little like kids pack. I started doing that, like going to the movies and getting like a kids meal rather than like the big bucket of popcorn, because listen, the kids meal comes with like a little thing of popcorn, which I think is like reasonably sized for one person. If you're like, kind of slowly munching on your popcorn, and then it comes with like a fruit snack and then either a soda or a bottle of water, which I feel like is a really good deal, and it's like $10. Like I think that's great. Anyways, so I went to, and it's like $10. So then so I go into the movie theater and it has reclining seats. It's giving bougie. It's giving like living in luxury. Like, and I sat and I watched the movie. Like, it was fun. And I mean, like, people were there with like other people, but I don't think anybody was paying attention to me because I wasn't paying attention to them. And it was like such a nice experience. And like leaving the movie theater and just like, I don't know, like there was something so like relaxing about it. And I also like solo date activities where like I'm not on my phone. Like, does that make sense? And that like I can't be sitting on my phone at the movie theater, or like if I'm getting my nails done, like they literally have my hands hostage. Like I can't be like tip tapping away, like, whatever it is that's going on my phone or what I want to be looking at on my phone, like it literally has to stop for like a little bit. So that's another thing, like for solo dates. Like for me personally, I like to do things that occupy my hands, which, you know what, something I do want to try is I want to take a pottery class. And I've wanted to take a pottery class for a really long time, but I usually like get my nails done. Like I usually have like acrylics or like dip, but I finally got those bad boys off. Here you go. I was just like, my nails were really frail and I try to give my nails like a little break during this time, and then I'll usually either get them done again, like if I'm going on a trip or something like that, or I definitely get them done like around my birthday, and then kind of acrylics all through the summer, fall, then I break winter. Like it's a little cycle. Anyways, so now my hands are free and I can take a pottery class. So I want to look into that. So that brings me to my second idea, taking a little like crafty class or just crafting by yourself. I want to do pottery specifically because I feel like it just would feel nice, and I like the idea of a craft like having utility, like if that makes sense. Like I want to make little mugs and like little plates and stuff like that. Like I think that would be cute. Next up, we have working in like a little cafe. I feel like so many times it's like so normalized to like go into like a little coffee shop or like a little lounge or something and like do work. Like, you know what I mean? But something that I like really want to try is I want to go and just like read a book, like grab my little coffee, read my little book, flip through it, you know what I mean? Do my thing and just like have that be that, like just do it as like, again, a solo activity. And again, with reading, you have to use your hands. Like your hands are held hostage. You can't be scrolling on your phone while you're reading. And I'm really excited because I feel like I've successfully like gotten myself back into my reading era. So I'm really proud of myself. I joined a book club, which I'm super excited for. We're meeting for the first time February 1st, but I have not started the book. But that's fine. That's fine. We're going to start the book this weekend, and I'm getting my hair done. And whenever I like have hair appointments, I either work or just like park and like read my book. So it's giving park and read your book. Anyways, that was a little tangent. Sorry, totally unrelated. But reading in a cafe. Next up, we have taking yourself shopping, which, girl, I love to shop. One thing about me is I can tear up a mall. Like, I love to shop. But I also acknowledge, and this is something that, like, I've learned, like, as I've gotten older and, like, I want to say, like, more independent and, like, hanging out, you know, like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like there's that transition where, like, you hang out with, like, people that are not your family more. I've learned that shopping with me is not for the weak. Like, I am the most annoying shopper ever, guys. Like, I will look in a store and then I'll do a lap and be like, okay, and then I'll do another lap, lower my expectations, then I'll do fitting room, then I'll have a meltdown in the fitting room because I don't like how anything looks, and then we'll move to the next store. Then I'll realize there's something at the last store that I like, and it's a hot mess. Like, shopping with me is not for the weak, and I didn't realize this until I started shopping with my friends, and people were like, oh my god, we've been in the mall for like 5 hours, and I'm like, eat a snack. Like, what am I supposed to do about that? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I am very much like, I can spend the whole day in the mall, and that's just not something that other people can subscribe to. And I get it. Like, I really do. Like, there are very few people on this planet that can handle a Zenobia Goodman shopping day. And I get it. But I feel like shopping, like taking myself shopping, is a really, really good solo date, because that's something that like a lot of people don't want to do with me. And that's okay. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, great. Like, I can go to the mall and like I can kind of do my own thing and like go at my pace and like, you know, take my deep breaths in the fitting room when something doesn't look right on me and like have that be that, like, you know. And I think like if you're looking for ideas for solo dates, like think of things that like you want to do but like nobody else really wants to do with you. Like, you know what I mean? Like, think of things like that. And like for me, it's like going shopping. Like, occasionally like people want to go shopping, but like not in the way that I shop, and that's okay. And like I love to do that by myself. I acknowledge that as like my self-care time. And I know I had mentioned like getting my nails done and like spa treatments and stuff like that, and like just general like self-care things. And I know that like a lot of the time people like do those things like with other people. But I personally, like, I love to get my nails done alone. Like, I pop in a little podcast and like have that be that. Like, that is just like where I'm at, like with those things. Okay, next up, we are going to talk about like eating a meal by yourself. And like, I definitely mentioned this, but like, you know, I definitely mentioned this, like, you know, kind of talking about like the college dining hall, but as like an adult, like, I mean, like, I take myself to like an actual meal, like a restaurant where a waiter / waitress comes up to you and like, you know, gets your order, like, you know, stuff like that. Like, not just like a takeout, like a fast food thing. Like, I go and I sit. And like, I think it's really easy to be like, oh, let me just like call somebody and like talk to them while I wait for my food. But I'm like, no, like I read a book, I sit there, or I'll read like an article or something like that. Like I actually am like by myself, like getting this meal. I think this is really great. Like if you want to try a new restaurant, you just want some space to do you and you want to treat yourself. Like again, these are all like very good ideas and just ways to gain some independence. Like I think that's great. And like I said before, like I would never say that like you can't do things with other people. And if you're always doing something with other people, like you're this, that, and the third. But it's like I, I'm somebody that likes to honor when I need alone time. And I know that other people feel that way too. And I don't think alone time is always like, all right, let me sit in my room and be by myself. And like, it doesn't have to be sad. It doesn't have to be like boring. Like, you can do things by yourself and it can be fun and it can be great and it can be groundbreaking. All right, so a couple of ideas of things that I want to do like solo, and one of them is a picnic. And obviously it is not picnic weather right now. It was 37 degrees in Boston today and I was like, oh my god, it's kind of nice out. So like I clearly have a warped sense of temperature, but so I so yeah, I definitely want to do that, make myself my little charcuterie board, sit in a park, whatever, do whatever I need to do. I've done like solo beach trips and that's fun. I do enjoy going to the beach by myself. That's a fun one. But no, but definitely want to do a picnic. My next thing, speaking of solo trips, I want to do like a solo traveling trip. It doesn't need to be international. We're not there yet, but maybe like a solo weekend trip. Like I go to a new city or like I do like a little staycation, like just a solo trip. Like, I think it's a lot of fun to vacation with friends and like I love like going places with people, but I think that's next up after I do the picnic and gain some more confidence. I think doing like a solo trip to like a different city is next up on my list. And then when we're feeling fancy, we'll go to a different country and it'll be great. And yeah, like those are my top two things that I wish to do. All right, so that's the episode. Yeah, I love talking about like solo dating and doing things by yourself. I think like this, especially like for those of us that are like in our 20s or like honestly at any age, like I think it's so important to like spend time by yourself and like, because like you can't pour from an empty cup. Everybody says that. So like build yourself up, do things independently, and everybody else is just an addition. Like you're the bee's knees. Like you can do all this stuff by yourself. Like you've got this, you're groundbreaking, you are independent. And I promise you, nobody's looking at you when you do things alone. Like I promise you, nobody's paying attention to you when you do things alone. And if anybody is, like, it doesn't matter. Like you're doing you and you're having fun and honor that, So like that's that for that episode. Thanks for tuning in. Instead of doing an I'm rattled, honestly, I haven't been rattled much these days, guys. Like, I'm just at a point where, like, anything that is not serving me or even stressing me out an ounce, like, even the tiniest little bit, I'm like, cut, cut, cut. I don't have time for it. So nothing really rattles me. Like, and obviously there are things that, like, are annoying, but it's like, I'm not really in a space where, like, things are rattling me that much. I'm just kind of like, cut. And, I also, like, I don't know, my life has just been, like, so relaxed. And, yeah, I'm not rattled about a lot. But don't worry, there's still something in that segment. So instead of talking about what I'm rattled about, I'm going to tell you guys what TV shows I've been rewatching. So I feel like no TV show that's come out, like, recently I've really liked, or it's, like, kind of given me that, like, oh, yeah, I want to keep watching this feeling. So I've been rewatching a few of, like, older TV shows that, like, I have watched and still love. So number one, I'm rewatching Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. It's a musical TV show. I absolutely love this show. I think it's really, really interesting depiction of mental health. I also think that, but it's also really funny. There's songs, there's like just a whole bunch of fun stuff in this show, and the plot's really interesting. The main character's like kind of out of her mind, but like you can't stop rooting for her. Like it's one of those shows where like, you know, and I love a show where like there's a messy main character. Like that's my favorite thing. So yeah, I've been rewatching Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. Next up we have Sex and the City. When I was like at my friend's like crafting the other night, we started watching like season 3 of Sex and the City, and I think that's the season where Carrie's with Aiden, which I have lots of opinions on. But anyways, that's the season Carrie's with Aiden. But when I realized that like when I started rewatching, I stopped at season 6. I don't really know why. Oh, I know why. Sorry. Why am I pretending I don't know why? I know why. Because I can't stand Jack Berger. He is so whiny. Oh my God. He is such a whiny, insecure little man. I can't stand him. So that's why I stopped watching. But I picked right back up, and now I'm like halfway through season 6, and that's the final season. So like I know how this film ends, but that's something else I've been rewatching. Like obviously a classic. Like who can hate Sex and the City? Like I'm sorry. You can never make me hate that show. Absolutely not. And any of you wondering, my favorite character on Sex and the City is 100% Charlotte York. I love my Park Avenue princess. I want to embody my Charlotte York. Maybe in a couple years when I pull it together. Anyways, and the final show that I'm rewatching is the Sex Lives of College Girls. I like forgot how hilarious this show was. Like it is actually funny. I'm almost done with season 1. I started rewatching it 2 days ago, and it is hilarious. Like I love Renee Rapp. I think her name's Pauline Chalamet. It's literally Timothy Chalamet's sister. I love everybody in this show. They all make me giggle. Like it's such a fun little show. Like it gives freshman year of college. Like it's so cute. Like I absolutely love this show. So those are my current rewatches. If you guys have any TV show recommendations, please give them to me. Like TV shows that I haven't already watched. Because I'm really in my rewatching TV shows era because nothing's really doing it for me anymore. But yeah, that's that. Thanks for tuning in. This was lovely. This was fun to make. Be sure to comment any suggestions. Fill out the Court is in Session submission form / weekly submissions. You know, ask for my opinion, my advice, stuff like that. Stay tuned for the YouTube of this episode. I haven't really committed to like when I'm gonna do that, so I'm not going to commit, and I'll just tell you guys what it's up. Yeah, we're not committing quite yet, but like I said, keep up with us on Instagram, YouTube. I almost said Facebook. We don't have a Facebook. TikTok. And be sure to fill out the suggestion form if you have any suggestions, good, positive, or negative. Then the weekly submissions form if you want to fill out a Court is in Session. You know, you can ask for my advice, you can just rant, or you can just spill tea and tell me all about it. So yeah, thank you for tuning in. This is a super fun episode to make. I always love when I record. Like, I don't know, this is a lot of fun to do. And I'm really happy to be sharing this with you guys. So that's that. Continue to spill tea all day. Ask the big questions, learn more about yourselves, and remember to not take yourself too seriously in the process. I'll see you when I see you. Bye!